Yes, people, hopefully you enjoyed that show. If you're just coming over from there with the weekend going on and with Manchester United, who are in the know right now, it's just got bad to worse. And I don't know how this man is going to survive past Saturday at 3 o'clock. If you don't know, Kobbie Mainoo is injured for 1 month until the next international break. So we're not going to see him for 6 weeks. Maybe it's a good way of protecting him. Maybe he's not actually even injured. Maybe they're just trying to make sure he gets refreshed. Who knows? I don't even know what the injury is. I've looked into it, tried to look into it, and it's not actually giving me a definitive of what the injuries occurred. And then, of course, Ugarte's out, which I didn't actually know. But he came off with a bad injury in the 82nd minute, and the guy's been injured 5 times in his whole career. Come to United, though, and now we can total up our injuries to 9 for the season already. So things don't change at Manchester United, ever. But big up to everyone that's in there. Make sure you like and subscribe, especially if you're new. New subscribers are always welcome. You know, new subscribers, as you're going to find myself, I'm going to be talking on a heavily Man United focused channel. There will be Man United stuff for Never a Foul still, but obviously on here, this is just myself where I can vibe with the chat a lot. So if you're someone that likes a good interaction and whatnot, this might be the channel for you. Israel's here, says big up Cass, bro. It's long for us. I don't want to see Ugarte and Eriksen double pivot. I don't worry, because Ugarte is not there. So we're going to talk about how United can potentially beat Brentford and how Ten Hag should probably line up. And we're probably going to say how we are going to also fail at the same time. And you know what's mad with this? We can pretty much predict the 11, right? So we'll predict the 11 and we'll go from there. Also, bro, that Poundland of weekend Ches don't have chest, bro. Bring me Brantwaite. Big up Midoriya. Sorry, is that it? Midoriya. Kingsman, Wolves FI when he's not cussing me. Ezra's in the building. Trigger as well. Solomon, Dean, Chest and Donut had mad chest just to predict a draw. That's crazy for me. Big Country in the building. Mark, Kobbie's injury is called 10 Haggitus. Dude. Yep, that's the one right there, man. But yeah, let's make sure we can get these likes up. If there's 87 people, I'm pretty sure there's at least 80 profiles. If there's 80 profiles of you with accounts that are not going to leave and want to support here, that means I can at least get 80 likes minimum. And that's a blessing in itself, especially if it's nice and early. And yeah, it's a Thursday. It's a decent day, especially if you're in the UK. And hopefully all you lot have got something to look forward to on the weekend, because I don't. And this is frustrating. Once again, coming on a channel which I don't want to spew negativity, but let's be balanced. And you know what? As much as the case is, if these owners are incompetent because Ten Hag somehow gets a draw against Brentford, then really and truly, the frustrations should go more towards the owners now of the sporting side of things, regardless, bar the manager that we don't like. Right now, Ten Hag has limited options, and those limited options are not great. And before we speak on this, let's talk about Kobbie's injuries. And that's one thing that we can probably knock about the manager is his overusage of playing him of last season, which is now catching up to him, allowing him to go to the Euros to play more football, more training. He hasn't really had a sufficient time to rest. Let's talk about when he did come back, he cut his holiday a week short to go and play and start in the what's it called, the Community Shield, the thing that we won numerous times, about a good 20 times over maybe as well. So again, the overusage of a teenager, I think the argument would be along the lines of, you know, he's a teenager. He needs to play football. He needs to play as much possible. But from an eye, it just looks like they're playing football. But for a teenager who's still growing, who's still got to fill into a man's body, overplaying him early is going to lead to early burnout in his future career or later career even. And even now, it's too much intensity for legs that are growing and too much for a teen in general. You don't have to, you should never ever overload your body with work at a young age. I've been told that from day dot. And this is where you got to look at the medical team as well. You got to look at their assistant managers who are maybe giving these sort of instructions or advice to the manager, and therefore the manager overusing because he's desperate to keep his job. Now, we're in a place where it's with Kobbie, which was quite similar to Marcus Rashford. And you see how Louis van Gaal eased the players in, eased a lot of the young players in, didn't overuse them, just gave them the right amount of game time to develop around some decent players as well. Same thing with Mourinho at that, to be fair. You don't overuse Rashford. He wasn't in big favour of him because of his, he just didn't like what he was doing at the time. Obviously, attitude, yada, yada, yada. You got to bread them in properly, And then it came to Ollie. Ollie overused Rashford back in 2020. I think it might have been 2020 as it goes, when he got sacked that year in December. Am I correct, or was it 21? I think it was 20, if I'm correct. And even then, whichever date it may be, whether it's 3 years ago or not, which it probably was, right, is the fact that Rashford was about 24 years of age then. And obviously, he's not as young. And look at the overload it pushed towards him because they were playing him every game. And then he got injured and playing him on injury. And then we've also had Ten Hag moan and legends say you can still play even if you're injured. And when it comes down to some of these players like Rooney, as much as he's my favorite player of all time for Manchester United, it's like, well, look at yourself. You didn't look after yourself. You got injured and you started slowing down, unfortunately. As much of a legend you are, you can still play on injuries when need be. But for a lot of these young players, they all say, like Roy Keane said, just go out there and play. You go and make sure you get minutes in the tank and go and develop. How are you meant to develop when you're playing in a system that's killing you? It's killing Casemiro, who's an absolute star, by the way, or a global superstar that even at the time he came in, even now, killing him his legs, right? You've got Ericsson doing dog work, who can't do that, and he's finished by the 55th, 60th minute if he's starting. Bruno Fernandes, 6,000 minutes in the tank or in the legs, is every season for the last 3-4 years is clearly seen him regress. And now we might be seeing that with someone like Kobbie Mainoo. And you know what? He is good enough. If you're old enough, it doesn't matter. Like, you can play. But with him, we've absolutely killed this guy. And I'm not gonna lie, this is the subject. This could be this could really be the start of his injuries, and I don't like that. And maybe this 4 to 6 week out period is going to be good for his body, and when he comes back, should be a lot more refreshed. It should be a little bit like a holiday for him, with obviously subject to some sort of training. And again, I don't know what the injury is, so if someone could actually let me know what's the latest on his injury or what he's picked up, please do let me know. How much longer do you think Ten Hag is going to last? If he survives till the next international break, then Ineos are actual frauds. The thing is, we keep getting mad at Ten Hag, but at the same time, we have to be mad at the Glazers 2.0 as it currently stands, Ineos, for keeping this going. And we need good reasons for it. And you know what? They didn't give us no clarity over the 2-week break when they literally gave out information to the tier ones, the athletic, like, Adam Crafton or what's his name, Laurie Whitwell. You can say as many names as you want, Chris Wheeler, that he says that he's got 3 games to survive. But they didn't really leak anything else out after the meeting to say that he's going to keep his job. It's just been filtered slowly. And maybe that's a good way of keeping out leaks, however you want to see it. Because on one hand, we hate all the leaks. We hate when it's, information's getting spewed out, that probably stuff that we probably shouldn't know. But then we get moany, like myself anyways, right now, when we don't actually hear anything. So this is what the case is at United at the moment. And it's just the decision is taking way too long. But if we look ahead to the weekend against Brentford, we can say that the lineup pretty much picks itself. Let me know, Lissandro didn't get involved with Argentina, did he? Did he come back or did he stay around? Someone to actually let me know. Well, anyways, so he didn't play for Argentina last week. So I'm pretty sure Martinez will get the nod. And I think that's the first one. De Ligt should get the second nod. But then you look at it, it's like, okay, but who's going to go left back? Who's going to go right back? And you know what? De Ligt's going to play. I think Maguire might be out, by the way. Oh, he got subbed on. So Lissandro's just come back from South America, because I thought I saw an article where he didn't actually play. Wow. Cool. Let me check this. Did he actually play? Because I don't want to get my information wrong. Wow, so apparently he was there then. So Lissandro's not going to play then. Let me check this. Just having a little look. I'm just having a little gander. Because I don't really keep up with all the internationals when it comes to South America. I should be more clued up on stuff like this, to be fair. So, all right. That's even worse. All right, let's go through the back line. Anana's going to be in goal. And, The back four, we're not even sure if Maguire's back. So Maguire, apparently, allegedly, Maguire's injured. Allegedly, again. And I don't know if that's confirmed, if he is injured or not. But if he's the sort of, I think he's the sort of player that would come back in a rush. But he's meant to be out for a few weeks. So this is what makes it even worse, right? We've got probably, more than likely, Evans is going to be centre back with De Ligt. So we've got Evans and De Ligt as our starting centre back. And you know what? In theory, in terms of ball playing and stuff, it sounds all right. But then you got Lindesoft at right back, and I'm pretty sure Delow's going to stay left back. So that back four picks itself, because guess what? We have nobody else. Then when you go to the central midfield, we've got no Kobbie, right? We've got no Ugarte. The only ones left is Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno Fernandes. Because guess what? The only other players that we've got left is not Mason Mount, because he's also injured. And we've got Toby Collier. That's the only player we can bring on that's got some sort of legs in the tank. And he's a young buck. And again, if you're going to push him to be in a game where we're not probably going to have any control, not really going to develop his game. Then you got Marcus Rashford, who's going to play on the left. We got unknown questions with Garnacho on the right. And same thing with Ahmad, if he's fit or not. I think he's back. So he more than likely might play Ahmad. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Anthony. And then up front is, if Højlund's back, we don't know. He could be injured still. He came off with a knock. He didn't train with Denmark either. So it might be Xerxes. So already, United have gone back to the same old problems, even if the injuries are not just as bad, because we do have Malacia coming back. We have Shaw back for how long ever he's going to stay back for. Malacia, there's a lot of questions around his fitness anyways, if he's going to be anything remotely the same. After being out for a whole year and a little bit, a tiny bit even, again, I don't expect to see the same kind of player. I don't know how tenacious he's going to be in his battles. And again, how much are we going to use him if Ten Hag's in charge? So he's back. Euro's back by the end of the month, which is fantastic news. So maybe for the Arsenal game, or the Chelsea game, or it could be even next month. They're tipping. We don't know if it's at the start or at the end, right? And I think we got Arsenal in December. So in the month of November, you got Maguire coming back at the end of October. Then Kobbie's coming back in 4 weeks. Mason Mount apparently another 4 weeks. Like, a lot of these players are going to come back at probably a good time. But right now, even if a new manager is to come in, for instance, we only got a certain crop of player. And that's the worrying signs. We don't know how long that Ugarte might be out for. It could be precautions. But regardless if he's injured or not, the thing is, he's only just come back from South America. And everyone, if you've ever been on a plane or know about planes, if you've been on a plane for a long time, right, and you've just played intense football, whether it's Lissandro and also Ugarte who's coming over in planes, it's going to take some wear and tear on your legs. So even when it comes to Chelsea at Anfield, like, just a little tangent, you're going to see Caicedo maybe not bringing the greatest of performances, or Enzo Fernandez. And that hasn't been factored in, which I could have said or mentioned on Never FL, but that wasn't the case. So again, and then you got Brentford's teams. They got a lot of stars, they got a lot of internationals, but at the same time, that doesn't matter because they're not coming from far places. They're coming from like Norway, Denmark, and so forth. And this is why I don't see United getting a win this game. I don't see where we get the goals from. I see us playing a bit of a low resolute block. I don't see Brentford actually killing us by 3 goals. It could be like a 2-0 or a 2-1. And that shouldn't be enough to get rid of this guy. But I'm not going to sit here and say I feel for Ten Hag because he ain't got his players available. But already we're giving out an excuse for why this man could stay in charge. After this weekend, regardless if it's a draw or not, a draw should be enough to him to get the boot, right? But we could really see ourselves drop to 16th place or even 15th if it's a draw. Leicester have got Nottingham Forest and Leicester at home. Leicester win that game. They go above us on goal difference. And I'm pretty sure Everton, if I go look at the Premier League table right now, Everton have got Ipswich, right? Everton are on 5 points. If United are to lose, by the way, and drop that goal difference to something like, let's say, -5, Everton play Ipswich Town, who are also on 4 points. Everton win. They're more than likely going to have the same goal difference as us and could be joint. We could literally be joint 16th. 16th even, or joint 15th with Everton. So either way when we look at it, if I can't see a win and you guys can't see a win, then we're dropping down the table even further after 8 games. And we're already on 8 points in 7, which is horrendous. It's going to be dusty, man. This is going to, you know what? It's making me wonder if I even want to watch this game. I don't know how you lot do it. If you're United fans in here or watching this back, how do you actually get through these games? Do you lot just switch it off? Because I would switch off. I couldn't bear to watch. Like, it's painful for me because as a content creator, you've got to do this. Win, lose, draw. You share the pain. And as much as I said, my punishment for wanting us to lose, you should never, really and truly, you should never want your team to lose, unfortunately. But when you get to desperate times, you need to take a step back so you can take 2 steps forward. And that's my case for wanting United to lose, because it's something needs refreshing at the helm. I don't actually think Ineos want Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge. Would you not trust Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge? Because even if it's as an interim, it's like these lot are not favouring interims. And now that we've got a lack of option, I feel like the data, they're going to be heavy on data. If last season or the end of last season, when Jim Ratcliffe was doing his interviews and so forth, they're talking about data, bringing in, and also there's more data analysts coming in the club. I feel like that's going to help them in their search for a manager. And that's why I reckon Amorim might actually be top of the list. And we was talking about a race for Amorim and who can get him. And you already seen him twerking for West Ham. He twerked for Liverpool. Something didn't work out right there. Maybe he wanted too much money in terms of wages. But again, with United, maybe the safe bet might be Thomas Frank rather than Amorim. But Amorim's experience in Europe, not saying he's been the greatest there. He's doing really good with Sporting, especially for their budgets and so forth. I don't know if I can bear to see United in a back three continuing going forward. I think it might be a little bit of a step backwards, but Thomas Frank, I think, is hugely underrated. The more I look at it, who would you guys be in favor of? If it's your club, whether it's Chelsea, Liverpool, I don't care who you support. If you had a choice of taking a chance on Thomas Frank or going with Amorim, who would you lot go for? He can't be worse than Ten Hag, not going to lie. But we're in a position as fans of United saying, like, we'll take anyone at this point. But then the same old problems are going to really occur in a couple of years or even in a year. And that's horrendous. That's how much we are not really in favor of this manager. That's how low we felt. I feel like even though he's won us 2 cups and stuff, this is like the lowest. I don't think I felt any more low as I have than a United fan. But then again, it could be reactionary, right? Like, I felt like this probably under Mourinho at the end. I probably felt like this under Ollie at the end. Louis van Gaal, not so much. I would say David Moyes was a horrendous feeling. I've stopped going to match days until Glazers are out. Well, hopefully in a couple of years that might be the case. We need a big 3 points. Really hope we can't. It's time these players and managers turn up for once and we start getting wins, but can't see at the moment. It's heartbreaking seeing where we are. Always watch whatever. Yep. And you're totally right on that part. You really are totally right on that part. Someone said that was it you, Solomon, that you said it felt like Chelsea 22-23 season or what season? I can't get that. Welcome to Chelsea's 2023-24 season. We had 9 players injured by game week 8. But I'm pretty sure United had a lot of players injured at the start. If I'm correct, was Kobbie injured? Lissandro was out for the year anyways. Who else was out for United? There was quite a few players, but there's no point in trying to compare dicks and say, yeah, we had the most injured players. You had the most injured players. It's all the same. I think and I don't care what confirmed team had the most injuries. It's already the same things with United. We talked about rotation. Rotation got given as an excuse for why players needed refreshing or taking off the pitch, but they're still getting injured regardless. As much as we managed Kobbie still got injured. As much as we managed Højlund, he's just come back and he's potentially injured. Ugarte never had an injury record pre-Man United. And he's already, again, we don't know how long it might be, but he's injured. It's just an unfortunate case. It's like, is Carrington really that bad? Is the training fields or something? Something's just not right. We've got the new doctor from Arsenal. And obviously people say, look how many injuries Arsenal had with this doctor. I don't know who's actually running the ship. I'm pretty sure he's shaping it in the way he wants, if I read up on that correctly. But it's the same old problems. Nothing's really improving. Yes, Mainoo got injured in pre-season last summer. I remember it was the Real Madrid game, wasn't it? He was out for a while as well. I like Amorim, but I can't have a manager trying to build a team around Bruno. But he didn't build a team around Bruno. He ended up getting rid of him. And then they won the league. Do you not remember? Because I'm not looking at Amorim as who he can build around in terms of like Bruno Fernandes. If you're going to build around, who would you say he builds around? It's like everything, it's built around the strikers slightly, because everything funds into the way Gyökeres plays and funds him to do what he needs to do to get goals. So it kind of, like on a spear point, obviously, if you look at it as a 3-4-3, the spearheader point is where it really ticks for Sporting Lisbon. For me, anyways. And I think the perfect guy to build around right now is Kobbie or Ahmad, one of the two. I think you got to choose which one. Like Ahmad's future might lie in a 10. Under Thomas Frank, obviously, he plays like a 4-2-ish, 3-1. It's a bit rigid. It's a bit like it's staggered. It's nice to watch on the eye. And in Burma, someone has quick pace and going to get you goals. Someone I'd love at United. But I feel like Ahmad could, in his original position, which is the 10, I feel Ahmad could literally be the focal point of what United need in the future. Carvalho plays there for them at the moment. And sometimes the Silva comes on and plays there for him as well. But Ahmad could be the guy to build around. I think he's got a high level of intelligence and he's low center of gravity. He could really build a midfield with Ahmad and Kobbie. Ahmad's really hard working. His work rate on the right hand side undoubtedly is underrated for me. And if you put that next to Kobbie, don't get me wrong, Kobbie could be there to be the one. He's more attacking box to box. But Ahmad, if you've got a proper different kind of DM, then yeah, it could work. Might be too lightweight though. Kobbie, Ugarte for now, anyways. Ahmad is a bit lightweight of a midfield when you deep it. But if you can play football, you can play. Because you know what? I said it before with the Amram team. I went through it yesterday. I don't really want to go through it again. But I feel like with Kobbie, you either got to probably use him as the guy who's the furthest attacking midfielder in a 3, right? So he's the one, he's the 8, he's an advanced 8. If not, if you're going to play 3-4-3, the one where the wing is a little bit more tucked in, then maybe Mainoo could be the guy that fills in that spot and give the high energy places in the center of the field. If Amram is to come to somebody else, Ugarte's already worked under him, which is a plus. If he was to come, anyways, as I said, Kobbie could be that left inside forward. He's really good and nippy in them situations, and he links up with Xerxes really well as well. And then Ahmad on the other side, it could work. Kobbie's got a good finish on him. So there could be a bit of a rebrand of where Kobbie is in the future, depending on who the manager is. Ahmad is overrated by this fan base, I admit, but it's because he's clearly a talent, and we can see where he can go and see what he could be, you know. But this is how much we're starving. We used to have lots of these players in abundance. Liverpool will sign Ahmad on a free to replace Salah. I doubt it because we're about to get a contract extension put on him. We've got 2-year option, by the way, so we can trigger twice. And second of all, I'm pretty sure we're in talks. But I reckon Ten Hag's the issue why a lot of these contracts are probably stalled a little touch. Like Mainoo's, we're in talks with him about new contract. I'm pretty sure he's going to stay anyways. But then there's Ahmad's of the world and yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, I'm seeing we're going to extend Maguire's contract by a year and trigger that. And I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. It's like they're trying to save money and focus on different positions next season. Just let him be there, let him be the backup. He's not too much of an issue anyways. But when he's your like 4th choice and you keep getting back to that 4th choice defender to start, it goes to show the medical team has got a long way to go and it's horrendous. Ahmad is good, just needs to build a body of work in the Prem. And we need a good system for him as well. Otherwise, he's not going to thrive. He's never going to thrive at this rate. By the way, guys, we're on 55 likes. If you haven't done so yet, please smash the like button. I don't need to run a poll to show you or to remind you guys. It's not like there's 500, 600, 700 of yous in here. One day, maybe. But if you haven't done so yet, please smash the likes. Should get these young players signed up. Maguire needs to go. Damn, no wonder they're also happy being stuck. Wouldn't no say on further 2 years at a funeral procession. Procession? Is that what you meant? But Ten Hag won't do that. We just have to hope the new manager will understand this. Yeah, there's a fresh feeling needs to come around the club very soon. Even with Omar Barada and all that, these are got to hold it. They got to be accountable. Someone has to be held accountable. So it's just a waiting game. It's frustrating. Also, do subscribe. Big up Zed for that Z. So if you ain't done so, subscribe. This is my channel. This is a new channel. So yeah, man. Big up again. I think we're nearly on 1,100. I'll start saying the next target would be 2,000, 3,000. No, the next target is 5,000. So as soon as we get the 5,000 likes, then I'll look at this channel a little bit in a different light. And then 10,000, again, we'll see it in another light. The fact that there's 150 of you here on an international break is sensational. I'm going to start running videos soon as well. So yeah, there'll be more content to push. How would you set up the team formation shape? Are you talking about this weekend, or if I was the manager, or what's available, or if everyone was available? Grace, like which Give me a little bit more context to that, if you don't mind. If Maguire's given the extension, will you do a protest stream? No, of course not. That's just providing hate on someone's contract. Don't get me wrong. I'm not in favor of it. It depends what United are going to focus on for next summer. Like, we're already looking at potential new attackers on the left-hand side, maybe another one on the right. We have to reform that midfield. Eriksen's leaving. Casemiro questions for the future. Bruno Fernandes questions. He probably will remain though, since he will have 2 years left by then. You know, again, I think the midfield needs a massive reform. The left back needs to have a look at. You know, we're already looking at bringing back our own youngster from Alvaro Fernandez potentially. There's all rumors around Anthony Robinson. So again, just looking, we're gonna have to wait on that part. It depends what the focus is, because everything costs money and a lot of money. So if Maguire is the fourth choice and you can extend it by a year so you don't have to focus on that area, then so be it. Because I know they're looking at Brentford. Brentford is like the nailed on one. He's like the Brexit star boy for Ineos. He makes sure he gets in. The future of what they feel is going to be a future partnership is Brentford and Euro. That's what they want to go with in the future. And De Ligt can follow suit if need be. I think Brentford and De Ligt, for me, is a bit too much of a clunky centre-back line, but it's still solid enough. It should be solid enough. Cass, did you hear about the Liverpool United scouts banned from Cobham? I heard about that. I saw that yesterday. That's and something about poaching up these youngsters and all the youngsters that are getting bought lately. Liverpool obviously got that Chelsea youngster. I don't know what his name is exactly, but they got him, that 16-year-old or 15-year-old young player. Apparently, he's meant to be a star. They nicked him. United's obviously got Cheeto from Arsenal and whatnot, and looking at other youngsters. So yeah, it's that's a bit crazy for me. Are you even allowed to do that? Are you allowed to ban them? Is that right? I'm glad people are seeing Kobbie as more of an attack and playing on this DM. No, he's not a DM. He's not agile enough defensively to be a DM. He can provide defensive cover, of course. He can do defensive actions. Like, his recovery is actually quite good. You know, his tackling is mint, you know, and whatnot. But you want him further up the field where he does the most damage. If we had an engine on him, we'd be looking at him in a different light. I think our team would suit a 3-5-2. Yeah, probably. I said that right now the current crop of players suits a back three. But the thing is, United have never had an identity in my lifetime, anyways, of seeing a back three or building for a back three. Because Amorim comes in and it changes the whole outlook. And you know what it is? We're already having this cultural reset, getting rid of Sir Alex Ferguson. Obviously, he's still at the club, though. Let's be real. Like, but getting rid of him in an official position, you know, trying to stamp an authority. It's like the future does not, whatever it is, they're trying to modernize the way it is at United and say, this is what we're going to do. A little bit like what's his name? Todd Bowley's doing at Chelsea. Like, it's not Roman. You're just going to have to get used to it. And I feel like that's what he's doing with us. And you know what? Ahmed, aka Solomon, A.Solomon in a chat, is pretty saying this is like a 22-23 Chelsea season. You know, the identity, you look at it, like, I don't even recognize my club anymore. You know, and at this point, it's probably going to be the screams on Saturday if we lose, or when we lose even. So it's going to be something similar. And until we see some sort of success on the pitch, we're never going to accept the change. I do wonder if you even get Amorim, if you didn't even take the Liverpool job because you wanted more control on transfers. Yeah, it depends. I don't know. It depends how the director of football and whatnot line up with the vision of the manager, if there's some sort of leeways. Like, remember, Ten Hag got his contract extension, right? And it wasn't a new contract. So from what he had before was player power in terms of who we can sign and who he's favoring, right? But not all of it. And the thing is, there was veto power on it, and that's the issue with United. And that's probably why we don't like some of these signings that are coming. I actually like the signings that are coming this time, but a lot of Euro is not a Ten Hag signing for me. Ugarte, they had to convince him to bring him in. Xerxes, I think, was one of Ten Hag's players. I don't think that's actually an Ineos type player, from what is kind of obvious at this point. And then Mazraoui is clearly a Ten Hag player. So it's just one of those ones where I look at it thinking the manager's got too much of a definitive say on who should be signed and who shouldn't be signed. And that obviously takes up your squad space. And if it don't go well, then who are you going to blame in the end? At the end of the day, a manager should never have that much influence over transfers. Because, you know, when it always comes with Man United, they always come with the scouts. The scouts wanted Sander Berge. apparently Ten Hag said no. This guy, we got to come to a realization. This guy comes from Ajax, and we believed he loved the midfield. But if you go look at the midfield with Gravenberch, Alvarez, and whatnot, he actually doesn't like the midfield. He doesn't care about it. He tries to bypass it way too much. And from bypassing it, there's no love and respect for the midfield. This day and age, you need a good midfield to control any game. And I don't need to be Michael Owen to tell you guys that. You know that yourselves. And he's tried to go for this high press approach with players that don't even know how to press properly, let alone follow instruction, follow suit. And lacks this overload, thinking it's going to be Liverpool remontada of under Klopp in like 2018-19. He's absolutely failed. Indefinitely failed even. So yeah, man, it's an absolute joke. It's insufferable. It's insufferable. He had Donny van der Bench and never used him. Yeah, there was a lot of issues around. There was a lot of issues surrounding Donny van der Beek. Actually, they even come out today with Donny van der Beek as well. If you lot saw, Laurie Whitwell chose it. He said it broke it down into 4 different pieces. I can read it right now, and I'm going to read it a little bit later. Just have like a little bit of an insight. If it's going to even allow me to check it. Usually I have him on a notification. He says something like, it says pressure is everywhere. You know, it's not only Man United. That's not a problem for the players. But yeah, I cannot tell you. I don't know. It's weird. He said he was talking about his struggles at Old Trafford, the situation under Ten Hag now. Inaccurate reports he considered retirement and a new start in Spain and Girona, where actually he's doing really well at the moment. Players it feels like Tottenham. Players leave Tottenham and they go and win. Ndombele, Kane's gonna win something this year. You know, you can name numerous amounts of players. Every time it feels like United, everyone that now leaving United, it's like they succeed now. And that's how far we've fallen, unfortunately. And that's disgusting. Players usually come to United to win things. Now they leave to go and win things. Let me check this. I've got to do this for Mon. So yeah, Donny just didn't work, and then injuries. Some players can't handle pressure at all. I wouldn't really put the blame on Ten Hag for Donny van der Beek, but I think he's someone that could have been utilised to keep the midfield ticking. Every time Van der Beek played, for me anyways, under Ollie, when he got given a chance, he typically showed up. You know, he didn't do everything that Bruno Fernandes is going to do, like go and score the goals. And he even beefed up, he bulked up, he physically improved, and he never got a run of games. I think he got treated so unfairly, and it's what a waste of money for 40 million. It's a bit like the Calvin Phillips signing for Man City. You bought him, you think he looks like he would fit a decent profile, but then he just flops. But I wouldn't even say Calvin Phillips being a flop, because he never really gets a run of games, and every time he did, of course, he failed on the pitch. Van der Beek comes on. I remember the Newcastle game, even Crystal Palace. Like he was actually quite good. You know, getting about the pitch. It's not always about how much you can move around the pitch, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer required physicality in his midfield in terms of getting about and hard work. But they just said he's just too slow. But we never got to see a body of work to even really give him a good judgment. Under Ten Hag, didn't give him a chance either. It was ridiculous. No run of games. But then you go and sign Eriksen. What's really the difference between Eriksen and Donny van der Beek in attack and mid? One likes to give the ball away in Eriksen, but he looks, because he aesthetically looks good, people give it a bypass. Can't really run, can't really tackle, and he's got the one decent long pass here and there. Yeah, I don't think Ten Hag's handled any of the players correctly that don't play. I don't think he's got that man management in him to do so. And if you're going to play an attacking mid that's going to keep the game dictated and going, and you've got a shadow striker similar, he didn't get near enough given game time, because guess what? Bruno Fernandes would probably moan and get his way. And then he probably felt the pressure on that. Bro, there's blame on Ten Hag for Donny. Ten Hag never improved any of our players, and that for me is unforgivable. He's improved no one. In the first season, we thought so, but in the second season, it's quite evident that he didn't do anything. So, and that's probably another negative you can push towards the manager again. Remember, we had hard-working midfielders. Now we have players who want to go forward. Yeah, that's the ironic thing of this all, isn't it? It's like we have players that sat back in Fred and McTominay, which we hated. We hated McFred. But even the McFred looked more solid than what we've got now. And even though we tried to go more expansive, the players that are less defensive, obviously Scott McTominay is not a DM. Fred is not a DM, but he was utilised quite well in the first season under Ten Hag. We should never have let Fred go. In hindsight, he shouldn't, and for the price he left for was ridiculous. There was no point. Should have got rid of Scott McTominay first. Fred could have provided something different with Kobbie last year if he was to be played, or even Casemiro. There was a solid enough foundation for that. Like a Casemiro, Fred, and Kobbie Mainoo free sounds actually quite decent, doesn't it? So when I tried to say Casemiro, Ugarte, and Kobbie Mainoo is probably the most balanced three going forward, that is literally the same thing as putting Fred into that equation. You got two players. Don't get me wrong. Ugarte is going to give you the legs. Casemiro can still play anchor. Just don't play the game through Casemiro. Just let him be the anchor. Get the line up the pitch of the defense. So obviously you get your fullbacks to invert or go forward. They're quite close to Casemiro. Ugarte is going to be in and around that equation. You don't really want him in a full line. Just let Kobbie do what he does. He's still got a bit of an engine, and utilize him how you need to. This is why I say anytime you tried to provide Bruno Fernandes with a midfield, the only time we got balance with him was Pogba and Matic. That got quickly collapsed. That finished. Matic got too old and too rusty, and he was pretty much finished. Pogba kept getting injured, Or you could even say when Herrera was there as well. I don't even know if Herrera and Bruno Fernandes played in the same team, but there was a bit of balance when Herrera was there with Pogba and I think Matic. That was the first balance. But after that, he didn't get given the tools. If you're going to play Bruno, who's not the most technically sound midfielder in the world, you need two midfielders like a Manu Kone and somebody else that's going to sit back, win the ball in probably the second phase of the pitch and give it to him, right? But we don't have the players for that, and he's got too old and rusty. And it's fucking boards. These boards of managers love this guy because he flipping runs about the pitch and screams at everyone. He's just a fraud. I'm sorry if you're a Bruno fan or a Bruno stan. It's just and they say, oh, how can you hate our best player? Well, our best player is not good enough. It's as simple as that. Look at Scott now. He's playing every week. He's playing more of an up-front role with Lukaku. Like he's always near him. Scoring and the fans love him. Wish Scott was still here. At least he tried his best and scored well. Fred and Casemiro were really good. I don't miss Scott McTominay. I really don't. Honestly, I really don't. There's nothing about him that makes me miss him. No, I like the moments. I hope he succeeds as well, obviously. Like, there's no point wishing bad. He didn't do nothing to me personally for me to wish him bad. He's doing well at another club for their level. And under a manager that probably understands his role a lot better than what Ten Hag tried to use him in. If we put Scott McTominay up front and use him as just a striker, I could hear. I'm not joking. If we had a coach, any coach would have recognized Scott McTominay as a guy that could play up front by himself. He's got the build for it. He's physical, but physical enough for it. He's got the height and he's got a good finish. Someone could have converted this guy into a striker with ease. And he's got work rate. So pressing forward, you could have utilized McTominay in a different way. His link-up wasn't that bad, but it's good enough for a striker standard at least. But we didn't use him and we didn't create for him. So again, failed. And any manager could have probably utilized that. And you know what? Jose Mourinho's got blood in his hands for that. He got us goals. But the thing is, we never used him in a position where he could have been utilized more for goals. Because every time a rival fan says, oh, but look what he done for your club. Yet in a midfield role, imagine what he could have done in a striking role. You look what he could have done in a striking role where he would have got game time. We lack strikers, but he still played him in the midfield where he looked like he was empty. When you played McTominay in the midfield, unfortunately, it looked like there was a huge gap and you're literally playing with 10 men. But a good manager would utilize that. So yeah, man, it's what it is. He's about 28 now anyway. So getting 30 million for a 28-year-old, 27, 28-year-old, 35 million even is actually quite a good deal. It's probably good business. Been saying that since the start of the second season as well. So yeah, I'm so happy McTominay's in here to save the day for Ten Hag. How did we end up with Ugarte with when Fofana and Manu Kone were right there? I have my reservations on Fofana, and I still keep them. I still keep the same energy for Fofana. Have you watched him? Go watch him against Liverpool. Even the guy off the ball, Fofana's horrendous. It's like having Kobbie Mainoo 2.0, but having Fofana as a squad player, not a starting player, for a squad player. Because I don't look at him as a 6. For me, he's an 8. He's a bit more like a Kobbie Mainoo for me. So it wouldn't for like approach. It could work. It could have worked at least. We need more than just an Ugarte though. They put Toby Collier there and thought that we would get sold by that, and which we nearly did, by the way. What are people's problems about selling Scott? We had to sell someone to bring in a new midfielder. Yeah, exactly. Smash the likes, people we've having here. What are we on? We're on 76 likes. So we're nearly on 100 likes, 140 of you in here. I'm going to guess a lot of you have 75 of you have liked the video, but I'm going to guess the people that are listening to this as I speak, there's about 140 profiles in it. 140 profiles can give you 140 likes, extra even. Get your burner accounts in it. What was this as well? Oh, that Pogba now if we could. I couldn't. I hated it when Pogba left. I'll have Fred and Pogba with Bruno and Casemiro all day long. All day long. But yeah, man, look, I'm going to wrap up there. I've got a show later as well on Monster's channel, maybe around 3 o'clock. Smash the likes on the way out. We've got tomorrow to look forward to because I'm pretty sure there's going to be more news in United. If there's anything new, I might go live later. I doubt it. It's international break's nearly over. Maybe the pain in our hearts is nearly over with this whole Man United regime going on at the moment. We can only hope and pray, I suppose. But yeah, man, hopefully you lot stay blessed in it. And don't get wound up too much.